Rick and Morty finally released an epic story episode for its 7th season, involving not just the return of Rick Prime as we've been building up to for a while, but the return of evil Morty as well. We're going to explain the real reason that he returned, as well as the stellar ending to the episode that, in my opinion, really makes the show feel like Rick and Morty again after the awkward transition to these new voice actors. My name is Рику, and hit that subscribe button because if you don't, you know I might cry. It's been a very hard day. Also, spoilers ahead. The episode opened with what looked like a classic Rick and Morty adventure, one with Morty upset about how he got treated and what he had to do, and Rick telling him to get over it and quit if he really wants to. This conversation feels like something our Rick and Morty have been having more often as they've returned to their relationship and the Prime Rick story has unfolded. However, we quickly learn that this is actually a flashback of evil Morty, famous for kidnapping our Rick all the way back in Season 1. We have a quick recap of his adventures since then with a little additional detail, particularly in his origin, though it wasn't that dramatic. He finally reached his limit with his Rick and decided to turn him to a tool to do his bidding, leading to the events of the show as we know it. Last we saw evil Morty, he was finally escaping the central finite curve, which our Rick had created to isolate the dimensions with a Rick serving as the ultimate intelligence so that they won't ever have to deal with interdimensional traveling geniuses who are not Ricks. Out of the central finite curve, evil Morty finds a lot of these interdimensional travelers, who seem to portal in and murder their other versions of themselves accidentally. Evil Morty has made a private paradise out here powered by random interdimensional crystals, but finds himself being harassed by our Rick's technology, which is being used to consolidate different versions of the Prime Rick and messing with the dimensional structure in the process. Evil Morty shows up to tell Rick to stop messing with the multiverse, and to try and get Rick's job done, he kills a suspicious Prime Rick duplicate that ends up sucking them into a special prison with other Ricks. Now, we saw that our Rick was trying to make portal travel, but wanted to quit after getting a visit from Prime Rick, who made our Rick examine what he was doing and why, and chose not to pursue science in a way that someone as vain as Prime Rick seemed to, with Prime Rick wanting to abandon his own family and caring more about meeting other Ricks, it seems. The Ricks in this prison were like our Rick, random Ricks who decided not to create portal travel after meeting Prime Rick, so he sabotaged their families by killing their Beths and Dianes. Like our Rick, these Ricks went on a revenge mission, but they don't have our Rick's plot armor, and of course, don't end up surviving the Hunger Games style face down between our Rick and the other Ricks who just want to avenge their Dianes. This led to the revelation that Prime Rick didn't just kill these Dianes, but eventually made a machine that was able to kill Diane in every dimension, and which can be used again to kill every version of a character from every dimension just like he did with Diane. Prime Rick says he had to use it on Diane because of the other Ricks, seemingly as a punishment for continuing to chase him, even though they did have other Dianes in other dimensions that they could go to and probably did seek comfort with. With goo from the prison for some reason, Rick is able to find the original Prime Rick finally and races off to go kill him, with the Mortys following behind against his will using their portal gun. Now, the reason evil Morty came back to our Rick initially was because this machine could disrupt his paradise even outside of the central finite curve. And honestly, I'm surprised he didn't get sent to his original dimension when Rick reset the portal network and everyone was sent home. At this point, however, he is aware of the Diane killing machine that can kill that version of you across every dimension, and knows that he is at risk as a Morty with a Rick operating that machine, particularly this Prime Rick who never even seemed to meet his Morty before. Of course, it's not as simple as wanting this destroyed, however, and even after beating Prime Rick and being able to destroy the machine and kill him, evil Morty instead chooses to get the schematics for himself. He gets them and, interestingly, revives our Rick and lets him have his way with Prime Rick, but leaves him with the threat that he can use this new machine on a random Rick, and our Rick